episode of House of Ways and Means. What we're going to talk about today specifically is we're going to try to talk about the question whether or not you should have your funds joint or separate as a married couple. So I'm reminded when we first got married, I was still getting my direct deposit into my personal account. I was just transferring it over, and you were like, no, you need to put your direct deposit into the joint account. Why was that?
My money is going into our joint account. Your money should go directly into the joint account. I feel like in a marriage, things should be even. And if we're going to be paying bills out of one account, it just makes sense to just have everything just go straight into one account. And then we can divvy it up and decide, okay, well, we have a stipend. The stipend for the month is $50 or whatever that amount is. And then from that joint account, we can send the stipend to our individual accounts. But I think just for cohesion, for budgeting, for even taxes, when that come around, one account makes sense, end of story, done. Full transparency. So
we haven't really been even funding our separate accounts with any sort of stipend because we have so many joint, goals and savings goals we're working toward that we've just been working 100% on saving towards those, and we've been going without stipends lately. But yeah, I think for us, it works best for us to just keep everything joint. It makes it easier, it's less transactions, you don't have to worry about transferring money back and forth. Our checks go into the joint account, and we pay our bills, all our bills out of the joint account. And then if we have any specific savings goals we're working toward, then we have separate accounts we may keep where we transfer just whatever monthly amount we decide to save towards. So I remember at one point, before we bought the house, we had a down payment fund.
Yep.
We had a furniture fund simultaneously, so we didn't move in and sleep on the floor for a year until we, and then we had the vacation fund because we actually delayed our honeymoon for 3 years because we were trying to, prioritize and paying off our student debt.
What is another way that you know of that people go about joining their money or their bank accounts?
Well, I know there's also a circumstance where people have a joint account that's only for bills. Mm-hmm. And so, I know depending on where you work, you can set up your direct deposit to have multiple accounts. You just divide it up by percentage. But I know there are couples who they have an account that's just for bills. Otherwise, the rest of their funds that aren't going to be allocated to bills goes to their own personal account that only they see. And so, I get that. That makes sense. And I think that the only reason we don't do it like that is because, I think we're particularly ambitious. So, because of the fact that we have so many things that we're saving towards that are outside of the bills, it only makes sense that we just bring everything together and then divvy up, and then whatever is left over is just kind of like the gravy. But, there are people who perhaps they don't have anything specific they're working toward. They don't have any ad hoc savings goals they're working on. They're maybe not trying to reach toward a car or a house or anything in particular. So they're just like, hey, I'm just coasting. I'm living my best life. I just want to make sure we pay our bills on time. We don't want any debt collectors coming at us. We just want to pay our bills, and then the rest of our funds, we just want to enjoy life. We trust each other, and that's what we want to do. So, again, anything you want to do that works for you is fine. That's just a little bit more difficult for us because we have so many things that we're saving towards. Now, I would say anything that works for you is fine, as I already said, but what I would say, what you don't want is a situation where there's no transparency.
So I've heard a lot of different things. I've heard where there's just one spouse that controls the money, and the other spouse don't even have access to the money. It could be an issue of maybe just preference in that marriage. Maybe the other spouse that doesn't have access is just very trusting of their spouse, or it could be an issue of control where it could be like a domestic violence situation, you know, or the person may, you know, have some gambling issues that they would like hide from their spouse, so they, you know, keep things separately like that, or they keep that secret rather. There's also issues where maybe the person lost their job and they don't even want the person to know that they lost their job, so they keep the account closed so that they could try to manipulate payments and things like that. And then there's also just the person that controls the money because they know that they're married to a spender, someone who may have, you know, a gambling debt or whatever it is, and so it's not healthy for them to have access to the money. So there are, you know, various ways that you know, have one person having control to make sense, and, you know, other scenarios where it may not be good. It just really varies. But again, with money in marriage and finances being a huge reason for divorce, that people within the marriage, they have to be on the same page, or at least mostly on the same page about the expenses and the income that comes in, and you know, how funds are allocated, and even financial goals that are determined.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, generally, if it works for you, go with it. But I think, you know, we here, between Waze and I, we would advise anybody who has no involvement with the financial situation, any spouse who has no involvement. You know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, you know, finances aren't my thing. I just let them handle it. I'm not good with numbers. I'll let them handle it. Look, I mean, that's great. You may trust that person 100%. I mean, obviously they're your spouse. However, that's no excuse to not at least know what's going on.
That's crazy.
I mean, because you may trust them, but, you know, people make a lot of wild situations, especially when they have absolute power, and also when they get themselves in bad situations. So what you don't want is to trust this person for all these years, 10, 15, 20 years, and then all of a sudden you look up and the IRS is coming grabbing for money, debt collectors are coming grabbing for money. You know, you pull out the debit card and it's denied for insufficient funds, and nobody has any answers for you, because then you'll have nobody to blame but yourself for not being involved.
So before we end the video, I just want to also just put this plug in. We're not saying that you should not be able to trust your spouse financially and things like that. But again, you are at least aware of what's going on. Today, tomorrow, something happens to your spouse and they are unable to pay the bills. You should be able to pick it right back up and know exactly what to do without needing to, you know, ask them questions about it, because you've been along the financial journey there with them. So, you know, it's just important that you be in the know, and we are promoting trust in financial, you know, in the financial health of your marriage. So just wanted to make sure we insert that there.
So I think that wraps it up for this video. I mean, write down in the comments if you have any other scenarios that you have seen before, or any other scenarios that you use that we may have missed. If you're viewing from Facebook, you know, just go ahead to the link on the website and consider checking out our other videos on the YouTube page. And you know, otherwise, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.